So if you don't strike a balance, you just get crushed. And if you attack from one side, you automatically create your own timer. In other words, like the moment you all concentrate on one side, there's an internal timer ticking. If you're not able to kill, and if you get stagnant or stuck or something, basically the whole other side is going to get destroyed. So if I were you guys, I would smartly use your numbers. Can't completely go balls to the wall and commit to one side. I'm just telling you. And this is after I kind of waited way longer. Next time I see that you guys have emptied your whole base, I'll just go and take them out immediately. So you need to figure out if you're going to commit early. You create your own timer. If you want to do half and half, then try to do it with your strongest players to get them maybe most benefit while they can still defend one side. So remember, like how we were talking about, like one side offense, one side defense. You got to be able to do that in order to be successful. The only other case where you'll be successful is if you go all completely on one side, but then there's a timer that's going to kick in, and a timer. If that army is not able to destroy the Victoria, then you're and create a winning condition for you, right? Like you have to create a win condition. If it does not create the win condition, you just lose. Like like this game, you just lose. So it's just a matter of like slow and steady. You'll just lose everything, and then you're trying to attack on one side, trying to do hasty defense on the other side, but it's going to be very difficult. So what I'm saying is, like, to create some order, you have to figure out how are you going to attack one side, how you're going to defend one side. Okay, or you attack one side entirely, but basically you're on a small timer. So I'm just saying, like, kind of keep that in mind. Good show though. I felt everybody felt pretty good about that game. Yes.
I think our communication was not maybe. Well, I mean, we were communicating, but I guess it wasn't as cohesive as the second game. I guess.
Well, second game I didn't do anything.
No,
so
that too. Yeah, no, that too.
Now when I was doing something,
Yeah.
was there any communication on your side of like,
No,
hey,
Sharky was communicating. You know, he was
good, that's
fine.
good.
And I think at one point, I guess, I mean, I know Logan, you communicated later, but I guess at one point you kind of went all out, right? And then you kind of left, I guess, your middle town center, right, in the base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
then Sharky got isolated, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. Okay, I was thinking that shouldn't be the case, but I guess that's what. Who is purple?
Logan.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Got it. Makes sense.
I
Okay.
were pushing my Rams, and then my Rams were exposed. So
Yes, that's right. That's right. The Rams were exposed, so it makes sense. No, but the thing is, you got isolated, so that's the problem. I'm actually happy to hear your team actually said that you were communicating.
Yeah, no, he's
and that was
getting
great,
better,
Sharky. Sharky, that's great feedback. That's awesome. Keep doing that.
He also said F Blue for making those bomber towers in my base.
Hey,
I'm joking.
hey, listen, I didn't make bomber towers.
Of the keeps you made or whatever the hell you made.
I just made archers.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't enough stone, right? I mean, technically I had stone to build a castle, but I didn't want to just do the castle. And when Salman was making a push on Logan, I needed to build a castle to keep you focused on the castle so that Salman's forces.
I figured. It was like you got attracted like a magnet, you know.
You tried your best to take it out, man.
I did.
How many bombers? I know eventually that, but once the Victoria was gone.
No, I mean I did try him, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
But how many bomber cannons you made, bro?
Well, I didn't really make them just for the castle, but that's when it ended up having to be. I don't know, I think like 4 or 5.
Yeah. I was like, damn, son. All right, switch. Let's go.
Faisal, one thing I do have to point out is you need to get a second TC up, minimum.
Understand what you're saying, but you're gonna have to account for steady early harass from Munster.
No, I get it, but I'm saying like if you're on 1 TC, I'm on 3 because I usually build them as the stone hits 100, then 200, so on and so forth. By the time I'm on my third, minimum you should be at 2 because if you're just hitting 2, then it's just like the amount of eco that you're losing out on is just too big.
I'm sure that's part of their plan, right? When they're doing that early harass.
Anyway, nothing's stopping you from building your second TC, really. Sending a villager on the other side and further down and just building a TC away from the action. But listen to what the man is saying. Basically, they're on like 2 TCs or 3, or 2, and you're on 1. And the whole point of this game is you cannot let your front go to Munsif like he does. So what? So in the beginning, he's probably building like more units so he can get access to the local area. So how's your scouting early on to know what units he's building so that you can make sure you have enough units to deal with him and contest the area, right? Like the scouting is key. If he's got like 7 pikes and 5 skirmishers, match it. Like you need to be able to match that, right?
He's going by formula, which I do not know.
Formula? What formula?
Yeah, just Google it. You'll see that there's instructions on exactly what time you have to do what.
Anyway, it's not like this game type destroys the whole formula. By the way, Faso, because you've got the Fatora. There is no equation for this. If we were playing maybe a random regular game, I can understand, but the Fatora totally destroys everything. I'm telling you. Just remember, you gotta get your eco, you gotta build those units, and you gotta scout. It has to be all 3. And this is part of the game. You have to be able to do that so that you can not only counter that guy or anybody, for example. So, hey, it's just part of those things that you're going to have to, get comfortable.
Yeah, I'd say the key to that last match was when they did full rally to attack you, and I intercepted it on the side, and they died.
Yeah, their whole flank was empty.
No, I'm talking about they were marching on Fassel.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, as their units were going,
I know.
Everything was empty, and it's kind of like they're thinking that blue's not going to do anything. Weirdos.
Hell, they didn't even like engage me properly there. They're like, oh, let's end the game. Stack Fassel. That's why Sharky's Rams got exposed.
Right.
Winston's in the back. Shoaib's in front of you. Fassel.
We good to go? Change the. I did change it to that post imperial. Even though I changed it in game, I just don't want anyone to.
Yeah, I know.
Like I changed it, but
that one time when I was in the Dark Age.
Here we go. 2.
Okay. Vikings.
Chinese.
They got Show's got Lithuanians, Mutsev's got Turks, Sharky's got Indians, and Logan's got Khmer.
Queen. Ushasmitter. Ho. Ushasmitter. 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 Ja. Ushasmitter. Ushasmitter. Butter. Ushasmitter. Ja. Ushasmitter. Queen. Ushasmitter. Ushasmitter. Ho. Butter. Ushasmitter. Ja. Ushasmitter. Butter.
Scouts.
Ushasmitter.
Yeah, my scout is queued. First up, first scout is out and about.
Queen.
Mine too.
Ushasmitter. Ushasmitter.
Second scout's out.
Mine.
You're gonna build a halberdier that early? I'm going to kill at least one villager.
I'll join you.
I already killed one.
Ho. Tilagi. Ushasmitter.
Queen. Ushasmitter. Ushasmitter. Ja. Ja. Altilagi. Village. Red.
Just let me know when you're building your second town center.
I'm putting the second one in the back.
Altilagi.
Oh, okay.
Butter. Ushasmitter.
Ja. Ja. Altilagi. Red. Altilagi. Kuandi. Ubur. Ja. Ja. Till bardaga. Bothos red. Ushasmitter. Ubur. Radida.
Queen. Ushasmitter.
Ushasmitter.
Okay, up a couple more scouts.
Or start making outposts.
It uses use
Uses
stone.
stone.
Careful.
Ho. Ushasmitter.
Altilagi. Ja. Altilagi.
Ja.
Ubur. Queen. Ushasmitter.
Butter. Ja. Ushasmitter. Ho. Ja. Ushasmitter. Ushasmitter. Queen. Ushasmitter.
Ja. Ubur.
Munza says 3 stable. Logan got villagers forward here.
Villek.
Is your second TC up already?
Yep. I'm sending a strike force to get those villagers.
Buhur til bardaga. Ja. Radida. Buin. Buhur. Ja. Altilagi.
Ho. Húsasméter.
Húsasméter. Húsasméter.
Careful, Logan might be building somewhere in that area.
Buhur. Ja. Ja.
Copy.
Buin.
Shoaib has skirms.
Buhur til bardaga. Ja. Radida.
Ja. Húsasméter.
Building 3rd TC up front forward.
Buin. Villek.
Queen. Húsasméter.
Ja. Húsasméter. Bothaður. Húsasméter. Húsasméter.
Butter. Ja. Butter.
I'll try to build my third TC here.
Buhur. Ja.
Okay, but you're gonna need some more farms.
Queen. Húsasméter.
Sending scouts out.
Ja. Til bardaga. Buhur. Ja. Radida. Radida. Ja. Radida. Bothaður. Ja. Buin. Húsasméter.
Down rises here, Munster.
Okay. I really don't see much presence from anyone right here.
Buin.
Yeah, I see.
Ja. Villek. Buin. Ja. Altilagi. Buhur. Altilagi. Til bardaga. Buhur. Ja. Altilagi. Ja. Villek. Buhur. Radida. Altilagi.
Ho. Húsasméter. Ja. Húsasméter.
Lots of villagers from Logan right here.
Yeah. They're trying to control that area.
Húsasméter.
Ja. Húsasméter.
Queen. Húsasméter.
Well, they're letting me freely grab the stones, so... Fassel, can you scout what's going on over there? You have a couple scouts sitting there by my side.
Can you ping again, please? Oh, okay, great. Copy.
Sure, I have a large force right there of skirms and halbs. Logan trying to come in from the side, back there. I'm going to see if I can flank around back.
Yeah, they're coming in hard.
Ja. Buhur. Altilagi. Til bardaga.
And there's Rams.
There's Rams. I know, I see that.
Ja. Buhur. Til bardaga. Buin. Altilagi. Ja. Ja. Radida. Buin.
Vassal, just focus on getting the keeping that. Yeah.
Bata queen. Ja. Ho. Nama mata. Red. Usha Smith.
They're building in my area.
No, I see that.
My Victoria's gone.
I see that too.
Usha Smith.
Completed their objective.
I mean, bit of a price.
Queen. Ja. Usha Smith. Ho. Nama mata. Usha Smith. Bata. Queen. Usha Smith. Ja. Usha Smith.
Logan's kind of screwed now.
Ho. Usha Smith. Bata. Queen. Ho. Ja. Nama mata.
Games.
GG. Sharky got left alone again.
Hmm.
Why is that? Why is Sharky getting left alone?
I didn't hear Shaki the whole game, so
Oh.
I was saying, he's getting
Bullshit.
attacked.
No, Shoaib, yeah. Dude,
What?
so where was Gray? I mean, that's what I want to know. We basically, it was Shoaib and I going left, and Gray was not anywhere.
I called
And
in
then
the beginning.
Sharky
I called
was
in the
getting hit.
beginning.
I was too focused on the left because we really needed to push hard, and if I went and helped Sharky, then Shoaib's done, and that's kind of what happened, though, because I have, yeah. But Gray was nowhere to be found.
Who was Gray though?
It's
What's that?
Mutsev.
Oh,
Didn't do
okay.
anything.
We switched it around. We switched it
Hold on.
around.
Okay. Well, I guess Munsif, what happened to you? Did you get hit or something early or something?
No, I had peace all game. I had no problem.
Ruin.
Oh, okay. So I guess what was I guess Shuaib.
We need to call it. That's the problem. We need to say, "Hey, we're getting hit." And Sharky did say it a bunch, but
Listen,
I don't
listen,
know. Like,
Logan. If you let me talk, I will talk.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
talking over me, I'm never gonna talk. I'm not gonna say
Right.
anything.
Right.
Can I
okay.
talk now?
Ja.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go. Gord.
Okay, thank you. Anyways, initially the game I was Turk in it. So we decided, in my case, I'm gonna be mostly cavalry and siege, mostly Rams.
Correct.
So that's was my objective. So for that,
Right.
I started making more food units.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to support the cavalry. I started making cavalries. So
Right.
I decided they were just standing there. So either they have to go to the front or to help Sharky, or they have to go to the left side. No one
Right.
had called anything.
Mhm.
They were standing there in the mid.
Right.
Then I decide, and then I mentioned I'm gonna go help you, Shuaib, in the left side, so to see if you guys we can get the stone. And we
Mhm.
find out that Faisal was already there in the
Right.
left side and holding that corner.
Right.
So at that time, my units, they are still standing in the back, didn't move or anything. No one called them or anyone called, so we can start moving them. The fight were there in 2 or 3 different corners, but if no one make a call, no one ask to push something, don't expect it to come. If you want me to distribute all my units separately in 3 different corners, I will do it. But if everyone is in a corner somewhere and doing their own thing, I'm not gonna help anyone doing that.
So I guess let me know when you're done and stuff.
I'm done. That's it.
Okay, I guess from my perspective, so yes, he was Turks, right? So obviously we kind of talked about that early on.
Yeah.
I told myself like, hey, build like a stable, like just keep a couple of stars in your base to get your eco up at least, right? So
Right.
don't like really waste stuff on barracks and stuff.
Right.
So that was that. And then on the left side, like Munsif is saying, obviously he never called for his help because the left side we didn't need his help, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously I kind of knew what Faisal was doing, or he was kind of like built forward a little bit, and I knew since he was doing that, I knew his economy. I mean, not economy, but I knew his base is going to be pretty much unprotected, right?
Mhm.
So that's when I made the play with Logan to go take out his Victoria, right?
Mhm.
Which obviously we did.
Right.
But I guess in Sharky, to his credit, he was calling out a few times that, hey, I'm getting attacked, I'm getting rushed. I mean, rush is what he was saying, right?
Mhm.
Then I think he said, oh, they were back. Then he said they can, they're coming back for another rush, blah blah blah. So then I was calling out. I don't know if you guys heard me. But you should have. I was saying like, who can help Sharky? Because I was the furthest away from Sharky, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, Logan, either you're a Munsif, like one of you guys who can help Sharky out, right?
Mhm.
So ideally, I guess, obviously, since Logan was a bit busy with me, ideally, I guess, probably maybe Munsif could have potentially helped him out. I mean, maybe not as much because he was Turks, but maybe at least a little bit on that front, right? And then I guess right before we resigned, Munsif is like, I'm going to come to your side. So I guess he was kind of like, not really engaged in much action, right? And that's when Logan kind of got frustrated, like, that I guess we need to communicate even that part or something.
So to Munsif's credit, he actually did help Sharky. So he was trying to help him. Though the problem was that Sharky made horses too. So Munsif and Sharky had horses. So I just needed pike.
But 1 second, Buzz. I guess Sharky, when the game started, I think I mentioned to you like go heavy on skirms and helps, right? We did talk about that since you were Indians, I remember.
Yeah, but
But anyways,
use, we're going to take every hussars, use yours too.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So he had that for scouting, and then he also had it for defense. So the thing is that by the time when Munsif showed up, he obviously could only come up with the horses. So actually, Munsif actually tried to help him. It's just that what could he do? And Munsif was seeing pikes. Like, what was he gonna do? Well, Munsif literally couldn't do anything. And at some point, they just kind of. By the way, the game is up. At some point, Munsif said, "Oh, screw it! Like I can't do anything." And then Sharky, because he had like mostly horses too, and maybe like a skirmisher or two, or maybe a pike. But basically, I mean, the units weren't complementing, and I already knew that Munsif was Turk, so any help that was even so it was really a matter of Logan really trying to help there. But there was a problem because Munsif was Turks. I know that if Munsif tried to help you, then the push couldn't happen because he didn't have the other units, right? So you needed Logan, which means that the only player that could help would be Munsif, Sharky, and he could only come with horses. You see? So because I already knew that, I actually didn't have to build much of horses anyway. I just built mostly a pike army, heavy army, and I just kind of went in and literally they couldn't do anything, and that's what kind of caused a little bit of an issue.
Well, that, and I guess I will have to watch the replay, but I guess maybe Logan, you can comment. I was looking at the stats right now, right? I mean, I guess overall, I guess Logan didn't have an excellent game this time, right? So that obviously hurt us as well, I think, overall. Like, I mean, largest army, like 25, and economy, I think you got hurt, I guess, Logan, in your base, right? With the food and wood.
Well, I think
Say
maybe-
hurt. I would just say lacking. I don't know. Just
Well,
not
I guess,
focused
I
on
guess
that.
you guys put in everything into Fastos Vittoria, right?
Oh, that's what I'm worried. Kind of. I mean, I know Logan had basically Logan was gonna send a guy to build us, not a guy, send a few villagers to build like another town center in my area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like some army to kind of support his villagers and stuff, right? So it's not like guess it's not like I was expecting that much help from him, right? At the moment, I was like,
Well,
whatever.
I guess it's subjective because
Yeah, maybe that is because I guess
he actually helped.
yeah,
a
I guess
lot.
'cause my assumption was that army was kind of like there to kind of help support his villagers, right? So I was like, hey,
Mhm.
because I was already building an army myself to
Right.
support the Rams, right? As you
Okay.
guys saw. So I
Right,
was like,
right,
hey,
right,
whatever you have in the moment, like right now, just send that with my Rams, basically, right? I mean, it's not like the Fassel thing was like that long of an push, right? I mean, it was pretty quick because it's empty.
Yeah,
Like,
but I guess what I'm saying is that with the units that you guys sent, right?
mhm,
So if you send, so think about it this way: Fatsal is closest to you,
mhm.
so Logan had to go a little bit further away to from mid to your side to help take Fatsal's Vitora out. But by doing that, his base was
It's
basically clean,
wide open.
and
Yeah, I'm saying, but
Sharky got
I
screwed.
didn't necessarily explicitly call for that at that moment, right?
Well, so
But
yeah, so I guess maybe that's a communication thing
I
because
guess, yeah.
Munsif kind of couldn't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he tried, like at some point, Munsif was like, "Screw it, I need to stop this somehow."
Because I guess when Munstead was Turks, in my mind, I was like, oh, if I do want to take a shot at Fassel, I would have to basically kind of do it on my own, right? I guess I should have been more explicit about that. But
Man, yeah, that's huge because
yeah, because I mean, because
Then Logan would have been able to defend.
I mean, that probably was another issue, right? So,
And sounds to me like you would have been able to do it, like on your own.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it would have been a little closer, obviously, but hopefully,
Yeah, so I mean that's not bad. So
So-
I guess it's
I
not
would
really
have
bad.
I would have probably have gone that early. I would have probably, built a few more army
Right.
units before going
True.
in, right? So.
True
So
that.
correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so if you have a bunch of hussars, what can you do? I feel like you can scout and say, "Hey, they're popping up castles in your base. There's also stuff going around here. They're expanding." Like you can't just be tunneled. I mean, yes, Sharky's getting hit and you can't help him, but there's other ways you can help. Am I wrong?
Well, I guess
Like-
here's the issue, Logan. I think the issue is that he's on one side of the map, Sharky's on the other side of the map. But
No,
to be
he's
honest,
just behind Sharky.
Oh no,
No,
we changed the
Munsif is
color.
in the-
Remember?
Munsif's in the back. All he had,
Yeah.
he didn't build forward.
No,
Munsif
no,
was
I-
not
I
present
mentioned-
in the
I
front
mentioned the
at
case.
all.
I
No, I
mentioned
know.
they were. It's question of which direction should I go. They were two
yeah,
directions.
sure,
I
sure,
mentioned that.
yeah, understood.
And
Well,
I mentioned
hold up,
during
though.
during the game, I mentioned
So-
which direction should I go, and no one responded.
No, see, to me,
So I don't know what else should I do. Yeah, I can have scout. Okay, so after that, I can call which units are coming. Okay, fine.
But
And
okay, so
everybody
the
is
other
doing
thing
their own
though
thing.
is we've watched countless times Kurum or Saman, Fassel even, me, Shoaib does it, is you build everywhere. You don't just build in your corner. So if your presence there
I
and you
built
also
in
have
3
stone to
different
build
areas.
bombard
I
towers,
built-
your Turks,
I
there's
built in 3
multiple
different
things you can
areas.
do. You just basically what I'm trying to say is that you pretty much hogged a lot of resources and then wasn't impactful in any way. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
No,
So
we know that. We know that. You don't have to say it. We know that, and I stated in.
so how do we correct that? That's what do we need to do? So
No, correct.
like,
I'm telling you that problem.
Yeah,
I'm telling you
he's
the
telling
problem.
you.
The problem is the communication. That's the problem.
no, I
If
feel
you
like
have-
it's
if
an
somebody has-
individual. I feel like it's an
No.
individual problem. You
Listen.
don't know what to do with your
We don't
resources.
see the same issue. Okay, that's fine.
I think here's the thing because you guys are too subjective about your comms. So I'm just telling you something. So understand. the way I'm talking about this, so there were a couple breakdowns. One, you guys left Sharky in Island again. So it was basically a repeat for him. Number two, you have to please consider the fact that you have another player who got into Turks, and it's just generally a problem in the team, regardless of your comms. Like, regardless of saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, that's fine. But basically, it's just going to be a problem because that's a player limitation. But here's the other thing. The other thing that actually would, primary responsibility of somebody like saying, hey, the guy's building a castle or the guy's doing this or that, is again, primary still comes to Sharky because it's his area. He sees it. He's the one who should be communicating that. Number one. Number two, if this is where Munsef probably need to communicate, which was, hey, listen, the guy's got infantry, bro. I'm dead. Like, there's nothing I can do there. So the moment you guys know or are aware, then other people can chime in, right? The other thing that was also kind of bad was the implicit communication between Shoaib and Logan, where Shoaib was like saying, hey, help me. And Logan's like, I'm balls to the walls, let's go. And it seemed to yield dividend, except basically Munsif's like flank got like super exposed. He couldn't really do anything. And by the time he tried to figure out what's going on, it's kind of like, what the hell just happened here? And what really happened is a series of kind of implicit miscues and explicit miscommunication. That's really all that happened. Not a big deal. It's just that, hey, people are going to kind of, listen, Munsif played a civ that he generally is okay with, and you saw the results that he can play very well. When you go to Turks or some other civ, it's like, yeah, you're going to be somewhat neutered. So then you expect, like, yeah, in hindsight, one can use scouting and one can do this. But honestly, to be frank, the scouting thing would not necessarily help with the fact that, hey, the guys, like, the army that's present there is completely countering what we have. Like, completely. There's nothing we can do. Like, you literally have an issue. By the time you build barracks and you understand that I'm doing something, it's too late. Like, you're not there. So what I'm saying is that it's a bit more subtle than that. Just understand what I'm saying. A few miscues led to this larger issue. It would have actually never even been an issue if, like, Logan, your flank would have not been exposed by the communication. Actually, the whole thing started with the miscue between you and Shoaib. Honestly, that's where it kind of fell. Because you would not have heavily supported him, and you would have done, Logan, your things, which is, I'm going to take care of my eco, I'm going to build my defense, I'm going to make sure everything's cool while I'm keeping Salman busy. Like, you do your job. Like, you're doing your job, right? The thing that just changed the whole equation for you was Shoaib saying, hey, let's do this, help me support my units, and you're like, hey, this is early in the game, all right, you asked for that, I'm gonna go fully and help you. Like, you totally committed, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing out that, hey, because then Shoaib's like, oh, I should have told you that you not to help me or support me in that many units. Okay, fine, but look, you guys were successful. You took the Fattori out. That's not really a bad thing. It's just that, like Munsif is saying, it's a communication thing. So not a big deal, not the biggest issue. Just, everyone's gonna, Sharky still's gonna, I'm still playing a little bit of a tug of war with Sharky. I want Sharky to, kind of like get faster with his building. He's still not that as fast as he should be, so he needs to do that. You're still, spending too much food on the cavalry units. Not necessarily. You have to kind of work that eco still. So, but overall, the fact that Sharky's communicating, to me, that's a huge win. Like, I would rather him not, like, there's all these other game things, but the fact that Sharky's communicating, like, a lot, or more so than he ever has, to me, that's a plus. And as far as, like, Logan, between you and Shoaib, you were successful. So just kind of work that context. And lastly, for Munsif, is just kind of like, hey, when you got your Hussars there and you saw that the army there is primarily pikemen and there's nothing you can do, at a minimum, you got to call out and say, guys, infantry, I'm only horses, I'm Turks, I can't do anything. What should we do here? He's moving in. That if you just voice even that in a significant way, Logan drops everything and says,
Wait,
"Shit,
yeah,
let me figure out my flank." If that
okay,
makes sense.
what do you mean by significant way? Because I stated I don't know how to say it. So what do you mean by significant way?
Well, all I'm saying is that when your horses died, was
Yeah,
there?
I pulled them back and they still died.
I,
But the
no,
question
no, 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 I
is,
know, but
mentioning there's a pikes there, what should how should I say it? So I don't know.
well, what did you say? I guess that's what I want to know. Did you say anything?
No, I said my horses are dying there, and
No, 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 no.
and
Before
I'm
your
pulling them
horses are
back.
dying. No, no, no. Before you, because remember, I danced with you guys a little bit, right? I danced with you a little bit with the pikes, and you did the right thing. You moved your horses back. You moved your horses back because you knew that there's nothing you can do, right?
Yeah,
Did
because
you?
there were no other units,
I
so I
know,
didn't
I
have a choice.
know, I
Yes.
know, but you need to communicate that to your team because Logan was right there. So Logan can then respond. See, Logan's issue is, hey, randomly I saw a freaking castle and all the shit go up and I'm screwed, right? Because he's so busy with taking out the Fetora and dealing with Saman. All you got to do is say, hey, guys, he's got infantry. Sharky doesn't have infantry to counter him. And I'm Turks and I got horses. There's nothing I can do, guys. Nothing. He's going to take it over. Help. Period. You did your job. I mean, literally, you did your job. And there's nothing for you to do with your horses there at that point. Could you have scouted? Maybe. Maybe you use the horses with Shoaib and say, hey, listen, my horses are going to die here. There's nothing I can do. Logan, you have the best units over here because Sharky doesn't have the infantry. I got to go. There's nothing I can do here. And then you're done. But you don't let your horses die and you move them somewhere else. Like you know what I mean. But other than that, man, it's not a big deal. Like I think everyone did fine. I mean, the whole point of this game and the way it's fast paced is because things will happen, and now we're learning about certain things, and that's okay. I mean, shoot, not a big deal. So good job, everybody. I mean, you did as best as you could with the Turks, and the thing though is that if you're hoarding resources, it's not about that you're hoarding resources. You should be making cavalry and just sending them with and helping your teammates, like just help your teammates support. You couldn't do anything on that one side, so send the units somewhere else where you can, because literally there's nothing you can do, and that's okay.
Which I sent to the left. That's
Correct.
why.
Good job.
Which I shouldn't have did because apparently the main part of the action was in the mid. So
Correct.
anyways, so that's
It's not a big deal.
I think personally I find that there is how should I say it? The question, the communication. If someone sees the difference between when I play with Salman or when I play with the other teams, like when Logan and Shaiba together,
Right.
it's there's so many thoughts, and no one it's solid thoughts. They are very good thoughts. They're very good
Right.
ideas, but there's no one direction that we take and we stick to it.
So it's a little bit
That's the
unfair
thing.
it's true. So it's a little bit unfair because, to be honest, like Salman's more experienced and maybe he does a better job with, and like he's done, like he's been the leader of raids, he gives instructions. So to him it's kind of like almost second nature. So when he's playing, he's like, hey, like you, Munsif, hey, we're gonna go here, Munsif, do this, or let's do this, and so you know what to do. It's kind of unfair because that's the part of the game that Shoaib and Logan and Fassel and you guys are learning that, right? Like, so there's going to be this, like, hey, what do we do? The thing though that at least you've identified that you're not going to get fully clear cut answers in terms of what to exactly do, but the one thing you guys can do is quickly force a decision. Like say, hey, listen,
Yes.
guys, I got units here. Tell me, where do I send them now? Right now. Someone's going to be forced to tell you, like, someone will say, hey, listen, Munsif, send him here. Period. You're done. But you have to instigate that because you're helping the team. So honestly, the more you're communicating to, the more it'll force someone to respond. The thing though is if you don't say anything because or like people are kind of like, just I don't know, just talking, but no one's really doing anything, you could say, hey guys, I understand, great ideas, but choose one. And I'm gonna do that. Just tell me where where do I send my units? Like, what do I do? And that's it. Munsif, you're done. Like, literally, you're done. Anything that happens after that is on your team because you did what your team asked you to, and you're good. Like, no issues. And then we can worry about all the other shit, whether it was a good idea or not a good idea. It's fine. You live and die by the team's decision. But at least you guys were communicating, if that makes sense.
Actually, I'm gonna start doing that. Okay. No,
Awesome.
that's good.
Cool. That was great. Another
See,
pretty cool.
at the end, it's gonna be on the lead, so I'll
Yep.
be full win. So from now on, Logan. Yes, I mean
Lead.
from now on,
Hey, you
Logan.
guys heard him. You guys heard him.
Yes.
He's gonna
Yep.
follow.
If
Yeah,
you use leads,
And
I
that-
think of MDS, man. Don't use leads.
Well, you're both are. That's it. That's the problem. That's